A cold wind rustled through the leaves of Blackwood Forest as Nathan parked his old, rusty car near the entrance. Rumors about people disappearing in the woods had kept the locals away, but Nathan needed a place to clear his mind. The darkness between the trees felt like a living thing, whispering his name. Stepping into the forest, Nathan felt an eerie silence wrap around him. No birds, no rustling of small animals, only the echo of his own footsteps. A sudden snap of a twig made him freeze. "Just the wind," he whispered. But deep inside, he doubted that. The path seemed to twist in ways that didn't make sense. He glanced over his shoulder, certain he'd seen a flicker of movement. A shiver ran down his spine, and he gripped the flashlight in his pocket tighter. He wasn't alone. Nathan tried to convince himself that he was imagining things. As he trudged deeper, he noticed strange carvings on the trees, symbols that looked ancient and foreboding. He knelt down to examine one, feeling the lingering warmth as if it had just been etched. Suddenly, a whisper floated through the air, not quite audible, but enough to send his heart racing. He spun around, but there was no one there. The forest had grown denser, the canopy above blocking out the moonlight. Shadows danced around him, taunting him. A rusted, half-collapsed cabin appeared in a clearing. The door creaked open slightly, as if inviting him in. Nathan hesitated, but felt an inexplicable urge to see what was inside. The wooden planks groaned under his weight as he stepped forward. Dust and cobwebs covered the interior. An old diary lay on a table, its leather cover cracked with age. Nathan flipped it open and found sketches of the forest. Words like shadows, lost souls, and never escape were scrawled in frantic handwriting. A chill enveloped him as he heard a thump from upstairs. He turned toward the narrow staircase, the air thick with tension. Each step he took felt heavier than the last, the wood bending and creaking ominously beneath him. At the top of the stairs, he found a room with a broken window, the wind howling through. A rocking chair moved back and forth, as if someone had just been sitting there. Nathan's breath caught. On the wall, a message appeared, written in a dark, oozing substance. "You shouldn't be here." A shadow darted across the room. He stumbled backward, his flashlight flickering. Suddenly, the diary he had left downstairs slammed shut with a loud bang. Nathan ran back down, his instincts screaming at him to get out. As he reached the front door, it refused to budge. He pulled and twisted the knob, but it stayed firmly shut. Desperation clawed at him. Whispers surrounded him, growing louder, each one hissing his name in a sinister tone. The shadows in the room began to converge, forming a nearly tangible shape. A figure, with eyes like twin voids, emerged, its presence oppressive and suffocating. Nathan felt his strength draining, the room spinning around him. He managed to yank the door open and stumbled out into the forest. The cabin creaked and shuddered behind him as if angry that he had escaped. He sprinted, but the path was gone, replaced by an unfamiliar maze of trees. His phone had no signal, and the battery icon flashed red. The whispers were still there, circling him, mocking his attempts to flee. Nathan turned in circles, trying to orient himself, but every direction felt wrong. The ground beneath him felt softer, almost pulsing. He realized he was standing on what looked like freshly turned soil. His stomach dropped when he saw a wooden marker sticking out. A grave marker. The name carved on it was his own. Panic took over, and he ran until his lungs burned. He tripped on a gnarled root and landed hard, his flashlight rolling away. He reached for it desperately, but it stopped at a pair of muddy boots. He looked up, trembling. A ghostly figure stood there, eyes hollow, face twisted in sorrow. "Help us," it whispered. Nathan backed away, but the figure seemed to flicker in and out of existence, as if trapped between worlds. The whispers grew into a cacophony, each voice filled with pain and desperation. "You opened the way," they accused. Nathan realized the diary wasn't just a warning, it was a prophecy. His presence had awakened something long forgotten. He stumbled into another clearing, where a circle of ancient stones stood. Symbols glowed faintly on them, pulsing in time with his heartbeat. The shadows thickened, swirling and forming a vortex of darkness. A force pulled at him, dragging him toward the center of the stone circle. He fought against it, but his limbs felt like lead. The ghostly figure appeared again, this time more solid, its hand outstretched as if trying to help him. Nathan's vision blurred. He could feel his consciousness slipping away. The forest seemed to close in, pressing on his mind, whispering its final secret. No one ever leaves. His surroundings dissolved into darkness, but then a voice broke through the fog, gentle and calm. It was a child's voice, singing an old lullaby. The force pulling him weakened. He clung to that voice, his only anchor in the sea of shadows. The vortex collapsed, and Nathan collapsed beside the stone circle, gasping for air. The ghostly figure watched him, its expression sorrowful but no longer menacing. It whispered, "Remember," before fading away. The forest remained still, the nightmare retreating. Nathan staggered back toward the direction of his car, the shadows watching but not following. As he reached the edge of the forest, he knew he had barely escaped. Blackwood Forest would never truly let him go.